Hello everyone, Sally here and welcome back to another Bedrock Edition tutorial. Today I'll be showing you how to build a very simple and easy iron farm that uses a nether portal to get slightly boosted rates. This is an incredibly easy and very cheap farm to build. This farm uses a nether portal to send the iron golems and the cats to the nether, which gets them out of the cap, allowing more things to spawn faster. So on average, you'll get about 450 iron per hour from this absolutely tiny little iron farm. This farm is also upgradable over time, so if you want to, you can start off with just 10 villagers and 1 platform, and as you get more villagers and more materials, you can upgrade the farm to have 20 villagers, a second spawning platform, and that will of course boost your rates even more. So this iron farm works just like any other iron farm. We have 2 pods of villagers and 20 beds. We got 2 different spawning platforms, but of course the main difference is instead of having a lava kill chamber down underneath the farm to kill the iron golems, we're sending the iron golems and of course the cats to the nether. Once you've AFK'd in the overworld for a little while, you can go through another nether portal to the nether and all the iron golems will spawn out of their kill chamber. As you can see, they all go down into the lava and they'll pretty much all die at once as well. They get pushed out of the nether portal by all the cats, which is rather convenient, and as you can see, bam, all of them are basically dead. All of the iron goes into your chest, and as you can see, you get absolutely tons of iron, around 450 or 7 stacks of iron per hour. So basically every hour that you AFK at this farm, you'll get about this many items, roughly 7 stacks of iron, 2 and so stacks of poppies, and then of course a little bit of gold as well, because that nether portal is going to be spawning zombie pigmen. They spawn in the water streams and then they just get pushed directly back into the nether portal. So you do get a little bit of gold drops from this. Also, if you decide to build this farm above a river or an ocean, then you can also get drowns and fish and squid and possibly even glow squid inside of your farm as well. So there's a lot of different aquatic mobs that you might also get in your nether side kill chamber. So this farm is not for everyone. If you want to do like long 12-hour AFK sessions in your world, then I would not recommend building this farm. Maximum, I think you could probably do like maybe a 3 or 4 hour AFK session before you just get so many mobs in the nether that they start lagging you out. This thing is not nearly as laggy as something like a guardian farm, for example, but of course you are sending mobs to the nether, so if you AFK irresponsibly, you could end up with hundreds of things in the nether. Furthermore, if you already have an iron farm in your world, you're probably better off just sticking with that than tearing it down and rebuilding this design. Also, if you have an existing iron farm, I think you can figure out how to upgrade it into this portal design if you want to without tearing down the whole thing. And this farm does have one mild con, and that is that the cats kind of explode everywhere. Let me just demonstrate it to you. It's also pretty hilarious, not gonna lie. So as you can see, we go into the nether and we kind of have some mild cat explosions. That one was not that bad, but sometimes they just kind of explode everywhere. I have not found any form of way to actually contain the cats fully within the kill chamber. Even if you put like 8 layers of blocks or however many, they just kind of fly straight through all of those blocks. However, none of the cats will ever survive escaping the kill chamber. They only explode out of the design after going through the lava blade, so at worst in your world, you're just going to end up with pieces of string everywhere, which will despawn after 5 minutes. So it's ultimately not really that big of a con. If you're not interested in a nether portal based design, I have 2 other very simple iron farms that you may be interested in, a simple upgradable version, and then also a 1 chunk iron farm. Links to those are absolutely everywhere, and they're worth your consideration if you don't feel like AFKing and then going to the nether every couple hours to kill your iron golems. I won't be going over any specific iron farm mechanics or details in today's video, since I've previously made a video covering absolutely everything that you need to know about iron farms. In that video, I also show you exactly how to fix your broken iron farms, and that's basically a universal video that applies to all Bedrock Edition iron farms. So if you have any questions about how this farm works, or if you want to know how to fix it if it's broken, check out that video. Links are in the iCards and in the description as well. And let's hop into the tutorial, shall we? For your convenience, there's a full materials list down in the description of the video so that you know everything you need to build this iron farm. A real quick note about build location: you want to choose somewhere that is fairly flat and without that many hills. That way the iron golems don't like spawn outside the farm, for example. And you also want to build somewhere that is about 100 blocks away from the nearest village, villager breeder, villager trading hall, or another iron farm. That way your villages don't combine and your farm doesn't break. If you build it far away from any other villager tech, then you have the best likelihood of the farm working first try, and the farm is far less likely to cause you issues. We're going to need a 21 block deep area that is 17 blocks wide for our build area, and we're going to start off over here in this lower left corner. Go ahead and make a pillar that is 5 blocks tall, and on the 5th block, that is going to be the layer of the bottom spawning platform. We can remove these 4 blocks underneath there. They're just temporary. Go ahead and extend this line of blocks until it is 8 blocks long, and then we're going to extend this and make it 21 blocks long in the opposite direction. Go ahead and basically just turn it into one solid rectangle and fill in all the blocks. It's worth mentioning that these have to be made out of solid blocks. You cannot use slabs for this platform. That's the first part of our spawning platform complete, and now we need to build another one of these next to it. So go ahead and branch out by a block, make another 8 block long bar of blocks right here, and then simply make this 21 blocks long. Once you've done that, go ahead and fill it in, and it should be basically identical to the original one. Now that our 2 spawning platforms are in place, we're going to go ahead and put a line of obsidian all the way down the middle of this build, and then we're simply going to go ahead and install some railings of leaves on the edges. These leaves are going to hold in all the water, and they're also going to prevent iron golems and cats from spawning on them as well. Once you've got all of that done, we need to find the center point of the build, so count in 11 blocks from one of the edges and you'll know where the center is. We're going to build a 3 tall pillar in the middle and then build a little platform off of the side of that. This needs to be a 7 wide by 2 block deep platform, and this is going to be where all of our beds are going. So we can have 7 beds on this little platform right here, and then we need an additional 5 blocks in these locations and 1 additional block right there. Then you can place down an additional 3 beds, and that is 10 beds on the left side of the farm. We now need another 10 beds on the right side of the farm as well, so do that entire process on this side as well. Once you have 20 beds in place, we can go ahead and remove that center pillar, and we can remove all of the blocks underneath the beds as well. We're going to do 2 final things before getting villagers into this iron farm. The first of which is just going ahead and putting water sources every other block along this edge of the farm. That is, of course, going to push all the iron golems and cats into your nether portal. Once your water is installed, we need to go ahead and build up a pillar of obsidian on either side of the farm. So you need 9 obsidian in this area right here. That is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 9. Place a leaf on top of that, and then we want 21 obsidian going all the way across the build to the very far side. It should line up with the obsidian line below the build. We're now going to place in another 9 obsidian right here just to complete the portal frame, and of course cover all of this in leaves as well. That way nothing spawns on top of it. Now is a good time to go ahead and light your nether portal. And now it is time to go to the nether and install the nether side kill chamber. So go ahead and step through this, and be careful, of course, you're going through an unknown nether portal. So make sure to link this nether portal properly to the main nether portal of your iron farm. If you're not aware of how to link nether portals, I have yet another tutorial for you that you might be interested in. Once you've properly linked your nether portal, we need 5 blocks of space below the nether portal frame to actually build in the kill chamber. The first thing that we're going to do is fill in an entire wall of solid blocks in all of these locations right here, and going forwards by 3 blocks as well. The solid blocks are going to do a little bit to help keep in the cats. Once you have the back and side walls installed, we're going to go ahead and place in a double chest right here for storage. flip around to the back side of that, and you want 2 hoppers facing into the back side of it, 2 hoppers facing into the top of it, and then you want hoppers facing into the back sides of those ones, and into the back sides of those ones. You don't need all of these hoppers to collect items. Obviously, you only need these 4, but I've decided to include these extra hoppers in the front and on the back side just to get the items into your chest as fast as possible. That way you're not waiting around forever. To finish off the kill chamber, we need to place in 4 campfires in these locations, put some buttons on the walls above those right there, and then we're going to fill in a wall of glass blocks right here, simply so that we can actually see into the kill chamber and know what's happening. This glass block wall needs to be 3 blocks tall. Place in 1 lava bucket directly above those buttons, and now we're just going to continue this glass wall all the way up to the very top and extend it around on these edges as well. That is basically all there is to the kill chamber on the front side. Of course, on the back side, we need to add in some additional blocks. Basically, go ahead and just fill in all of this with solid blocks. I would also recommend adding in a little bit of a wall around your kill chamber as well. That way, when the cats do explode out of the design, they don't go absolutely everywhere. Some of them will always go everywhere, but the majority will be contained by this little bit of a wall, and then you can just run around in here and pick up all of your string. And now it's time that you get a player portal in place. I would recommend going about 50 to 70 or so blocks from your iron farm and building another nether portal, ensuring that you link it properly to the nether. Then, whenever you want to go to the nether and actually kill all of your iron golems, you simply enter this nether portal. You should never enter the nether portal of the actual iron farm itself. And now it's time to get some villagers for your iron farm. Only one type of villager is actually going to be ideal for your iron farm, so you cannot use any babies because they don't link to workstations or work, so they're not going to help spawn iron golems. The same is true for nitwits. You cannot use them either, and you don't want any villagers that already have professions or have been traded with. What you want is a nice, clean villager that has no profession and will link it to any workstation that you give it. So of course, the best way to get this kind of villager is from a villager breeder, and of course you need 20 villagers, so you're just going to want a villager breeder in general. I have a tutorial for a super simple and easy to build villager breeder. You can find that linked in the iCards and down below as well. Make sure to read the pinned comment for the mild fixes that you may need to apply to it. And now it's the time that you've all been dreading, installing the villagers of your iron farm. Come down to the side of one of the nether portals and just install 1 solid block right here at the same layer as your leaves. Your villagers are going to be standing on top of this block like so. We're going to go ahead and install 2 temporary blocks above that and then completely surround this with fletching tables on all sides. That is a total of 8 fletching tables, but we need 10 in total, so just go ahead and place 2 more in that corner like so. Remove your temporary blocks, and then I would recommend building a little temporary structure around this thing as well, just to kind of push the villagers in there using some water. Water is going to be your best friend in combination with minecarts to actually get your villagers into this build. So place in a button above the villager containment cell, and then you want yourself a water bucket in the corner. Go ahead and get your 10 villagers from the villager breeder and drop them in here. They should be linking to the beds, and then they should also link to a workstation as well, and that is basically all there is to it. You need 10 villagers in this cell right here. Once you have all 10 villagers in the cell right there, go ahead and remove your water source, and then you can remove the entirety of this temporary structure. Make sure you don't break any of your workstations, otherwise all of your villagers are going to go flying out of the build, and that is not a fun thing. I've done it myself. Trust me, I'm speaking from experience. So now we're going to cover up all of the workstations with leaves, place in ourselves a glass block above the villagers themselves, and then put a torch on top of the glass as well. That way nothing spawns inside of the villager cell. Once you have this entire cell installed, if you give them about 15 or 20 minutes, they should have enough time to work at their workstations, and then they should start spawning an iron golem or some cats. So if you wait around for a little while, you might see them spawn, but even if you don't see them, they might have spawned inside of the nether portal. So check out the kill chamber in like maybe 10 minutes and see if there's anything over there. And there we go. We got our first iron golem of the build. It has now gone to the nether, and you have a successfully built, fully functional iron farm. So if this is all that you want to build, that is perfectly fine. However, upgrading this is super easy, and I'll show you how to do that in just a minute. However, there's two small things you should do at this point in the build, and that is, one, put some torches underneath of this thing. That way you don't have any bad guys spawning down here like a whole bunch of creepers, because that is a quick way to ruin your day. I would also recommend putting a lightning rod on top of this build as well. That way none of your villagers get struck by lightning, because that's another great way to also ruin your day. So let's go ahead and upgrade this farm, shall we? The first thing that you want to do is place in yourself another spawning layer, exactly the same as the ones below it, but this one is going to be going directly above your beds. So of course, make your platform 21 blocks wide and 8 blocks long, fill it all in, put a ring of leaves going around it, and then put your water on top of it as well. Incredibly basic, but this is going to give the golems a lot more places to spawn, and therefore increase your rates. So that is what your secondary spawning platform should look like, and of course you want to cover both of these platforms in water as well. So that is the first and easiest upgrade that you can make it to this iron farm. The next upgrade is of course adding 10 more villagers. So if those original villagers didn't make you pull out all of your hair, you basically need to do that exact same process but on the opposite side over here. So the block that they stand on goes in this location. You would surround the entirety of this thing in fletching tables, and then you need to get 10 professionless villagers into the cell. They will link to the workstations, link to the beds, and then you cover this thing up, and bam, you have yourself a 20 villager iron farm. It really is that simple, and once you install all 20 villagers and the second spawning platform, this iron farm will produce around 450 iron ingots per hour. So as you can see, I've installed the 10 villagers on this side. In addition to the original 10 villagers, this now allows us to get 2 iron golems at once, and this is the maximum that you can upgrade this iron farm. You cannot add more villagers to this. It will not really increase your rates. Those villagers are better spent building a second iron farm, and you cannot add any additional floors to this farm because that would be outside the range that the iron golems can spawn in. But as you can see, now that we've gotten 20 villagers in here, this thing is spawning golems very, very frequently. So now for the moment of truth, let's go through our player portal and look at the kill chamber. As you can see, we got ourselves a bunch of iron golems, a bunch of cats, and some zombie pigmen as well. All these guys are going to die via the lava, and the drops will go into the chest. It's as simple as that, and as you can see, the hopper setup really does put the iron in there very quickly. So hopefully you have enjoyed today's tutorial. I hope that you have. If you have, then of course make sure to leave a like on the video, possibly share it around with your friends. That way other people can enjoy this tutorial as well. And if you're new here, then consider subscribing. That way you don't miss a future Bedrock Edition tutorials on the channel. I have many planned, and I can't wait for you to see them. Otherwise, I'll see you guys down in the comment section and in the next one. And then there was silence.